There are no other ancient virgin birth stories besides Jesus. Now, this is something that I run across all the time when I'm discussing the historical Jesus. Many mythicists love to claim that there are a variety of different ancient virgin birth stories, and Jesus is simply another one of those, that Jesus most likely was copied from those. But this is a modern day myth that started in the 1880s with Kersey Graves. Now, here's the thing, we can look at other figures who had miraculous birth stories, but that does not equate to a virgin birth story. There is a distinction here. Now, I think the thing that annoys me the most about this is that people just don't research those other supposed virgin births. So if we look at Mithra, there is no virgin birth at all. In fact, Mithra emerges from a rock fully formed. That's not a virgin birth story. It's not even really a birth story at all. But either way, there is a distinction here. Now, I'm not saying that the virgin birth story is meant to be literal. It probably wasn't, but it fits within this larger idea of these miraculous births. And the reason that they had miraculous births was because they were seen as important figures. The concept at that time is that if you were important later on in life, your birth would reflect that. Now, where it gets really interesting is if we look at the culture of Jesus, the Jewish culture within the first century. Here we do see a specific type of miraculous birth. This type of birth really deals with individuals who are not supposed to be able to have children. Either they're barren or they're too old. Whatever the cause is, they're not supposed to be able to have children. This is actually the type of miraculous birth that we see with John the Baptist. His parents were not supposed to be able to have children. God blessed them, and they had a child, and that was deemed a miraculous birth. But if we look at this in context, we can actually see something key when we look at the birth of Jesus. Now, if we keep all of this in mind and look at the story of Jesus, we see that same basic framework. We have an individual who's not meant to be able to have a child. Now, in this case, it's not because they're too old or because they're barren, but it's because she's a virgin. So, in essence, what we have here is this same basic type of miraculous birth, but it's being ramped up for Jesus because Jesus was seen as more important. This is something that we commonly see within the Jesus story. There's expectations, and then Jesus overachieves. And this is something that's reflected within his own birth story. This is just something that we commonly see within the Jesus story. We see an expectation, and then it's being blown past. And that's what's happening within this framework of the birth. We see a common birth story, and Jesus is just exceeding what is expected. That's why we see a distinction here, because he's being shown to be greater than those who preceded him. He's being shown to